Amid the scorching heat of the Sinai desert, an incredible discovery emerges from the sands of time. An ancient scroll, almost lost to history, reveals Jesus' true appearance. Yes, you heard right. Physical characteristics, personal traits and details that defy everything we thought we knew. What has been hidden for centuries can finally come to light, questioning the traditional images we have been presented with. Imagine a Jesus who looks nothing like the representations we see in churches and in the arts. This revelation is not only fascinating, she suggests there is a historical cover-up at play. Who decided to hide this truth? And why? As we unravel this intriguing narrative, more questions arise. What other secrets might be buried in the desert sands, and how might this new view of Jesus change our understanding of his message and legacy? Get ready for a journey that mixes history, mystery, and hidden revelations. With each new layer we peel away, the image of Jesus becomes more complex and intriguing. And you, are you ready to face this truth? Recently, a parchment found in the Sinai desert brought to light a physical description of Jesus that differs from what many are accustomed to seeing. According to the document, Jesus would have had darker skin and curly hair. These characteristics contrast with the common image of Jesus, who is usually portrayed with fair skin and long, straight hair. For many, this new description may come as a shock, since traditional representations have been consolidated over the centuries through art, cinema, and literature. In addition to skin and hair color, the scroll also mentions Jesus' height, which was considered average by the standards of the time. This information is interesting, as it challenges the idealized view that many have of him. When considering Jesus' physical appearance in this new light, it becomes evident that he could more closely resemble the people of the Middle Eastern region than the Eurocentric representations that dominate Christian iconography. Distinctive features such as face shape and expression are also discussed in the scroll. These characteristics, although subtle, can offer a new perspective on the image of Jesus that people have in their minds. It's important to remember that someone's appearance can influence how they are perceived and understood, especially when it comes to a figure so central to the Christian faith. The physical description of Jesus, therefore, is not just a curiosity. It can change the way believers connect with him. By imagining Jesus closer to his cultural and ethnic roots, many may find a new understanding of his message and teachings. Thus, the new description becomes an invitation to reflect on diversity and inclusion within Christianity. The analysis of the physical description of Jesus is not limited to a mere academic exercise. She touches on deep questions of identity, culture, and spirituality. With the new information, society can begin to reevaluate not only the figure of Jesus, but also how religion relates to different cultures around the world. The discovery of the parchment that depicts Jesus differently provokes an inevitable comparison with the traditional images we have of him. Most of these artistic representations, which often idealize Jesus as a European man, may be outdated in light of new information. This discrepancy between physical description and artistic representations throughout history reveals much about the cultural and political influence that shaped the image of Jesus. Historically, Christian art has been shaped by specific social and cultural contexts. In many cases, artists chose to portray Jesus according to their own aesthetic and racial standards. This may have contributed to a distorted view of the figure of Christ, which does not reflect the reality of his origin. The new depiction, then, represents an opportunity to re-examine these representations and consider how they affect people's perceptions of Jesus and his message. Furthermore, these artistic representations have a significant impact on the way believers relate to the figure of Jesus. When Jesus is portrayed as someone who doesn't look like most of the people who worship him, there can be a disconnect. The new description can help bring Jesus closer to different communities, making him a more accessible and identifiable figure for many. The discussion about Jesus' appearance also raises questions about the authenticity of the images we have. Traditional representations have been accepted as true for so long that many may have difficulty accepting this new view. This resistance can be seen in theological debates and in the reactions of groups who feel challenged by this new information. Thus, the comparison between the new depiction of Jesus and traditional images opens up space for a broader dialogue about diversity in religious representation. It is a reminder that faith can be lived in different ways depending on the cultural and historical context. This reflection can lead to a richer and more inclusive understanding of Christianity. The scroll depicting Jesus' appearance raises important questions about its origin and authenticity. Discovered in a remote region of the Sinai Desert, this document was dated using scientific methods that seek to confirm its age and historical context. Careful analysis of the materials and handwriting is essential to ensure that the parchment is not just a forgery. The authenticity of the scroll is crucial, not only to validate its description of Jesus, but also to understand its meaning. If the document is proven to be genuine, it could open new discussions about the life and times of Jesus. The research surrounding the parchment involves experts from various fields such as historians, archaeologists, and theologians, all looking for answers that could change the way we understand the figure of Jesus. In addition to dating, the historical context in which the parchment was found is also relevant. The circumstances of the discovery may provide clues as to how and why this document was produced. Understanding the cultural and religious environment of the period can help clarify the intentions behind the depiction of Jesus and how it fits into the larger narrative of Christianity. Another important aspect of the investigation is how the scroll relates to other ancient texts. There is a rich tradition of documents that talk about Jesus, and the new description may align with or contradict already known information. This makes the analysis even more complex, since each new finding can modify the collective understanding of the central figure of Christianity. The authenticity and origin of the scroll are questions that not only fuel academic curiosity, but also have profound implications for the faith of millions of people. The way Jesus is seen and understood is directly affected by these discoveries, making research into the scroll an activity of great cultural and religious importance. The new vision of Jesus' appearance, as described in the scroll, could have a real impact on the theological beliefs of many religious traditions. If before the representations of Jesus were almost uniform, with characteristics that reflected local cultures, now this new description may lead to a re-evaluation. For example, the idea of a Jesus with physical characteristics closer to those of people from the Middle East can influence the way believers relate to the divine figure. This change can generate a stronger sense of belonging among Christians who identify with these characteristics. Furthermore, this new perception may have repercussions on religious practices. Representations of Jesus in churches, icons, and devotional materials can be questioned and even revised. This would not only affect sacred art, but also the way communities view themselves in relation to their Savior. The image of Jesus is central to the Christian faith, and therefore any change in its representation could lead to heated debates among believers about the authenticity and relevance of these new depictions. Culturally, this new approach may generate a re-examination of sacred narratives. Stories that were previously interpreted one way can take on new meanings in light of this new information. For example, passages that talk about the life of Jesus can be reinterpreted to reflect his cultural and ethnic background, which can enrich the understanding of his message. Oral and written traditions, which often shape religious culture, can undergo a process of re-evaluation and updating. Furthermore, the rediscovery of Jesus' characteristics can generate a broader dialogue about diversity within Christianity. The image of Jesus as a figure of inclusion can be reinforced by showing that he does not belong to a single culture or ethnicity. This can promote greater acceptance and unity among different groups within the Christian faith by emphasizing the universality of the message of love and compassion that Jesus preached. This new vision may influence Jesus' role in social discussions. The figure of Jesus, now seen in a new light, can be used as a symbol of the fight against oppression and inequality. This can inspire social movements that seek justice and inclusion, reaffirming the importance of Jesus as a leader who transcends cultural and social barriers. Thus, the new description may, in fact, lead to a significant transformation in social and religious interactions. Analysis of the possible reasons behind the historical concealment of Jesus' characteristics reveals a complex scenario full of political, social, and religious interests. Throughout history, the image of Jesus has been shaped by those in power, and often this molding has served specific purposes. The representation of Jesus as a European figure, for example, may have been a way of legitimizing colonial ambitions and the expansion of Christianity in non-Western lands. Another factor that may have contributed to the cover-up is the desire for unification of the Christian faith. In a world where diverse cultures and ethnicities coexist, choosing a standardized image of Jesus may have been a way to create a common symbol that united believers regardless of their origins. This may have resulted in an interpretation that did not necessarily reflect historical reality, but which sought to promote cohesion among followers of the religion. Furthermore, the social and cultural interests of different eras also play a role. The way Jesus is portrayed may have been influenced by social norms and expectations of the period. In times of great conservatism, for example, there may have been a tendency to present Jesus in a way that was acceptable or desirable to society at the time, ignoring his original characteristics. Religious motivations cannot be underestimated either. The way Jesus is perceived directly affects theology and religious practice. If the image of Jesus is altered, it can lead to questions about his divinity, humanity, and role in salvation. Therefore, preserving a traditional image may have been a strategy to maintain the cohesion and authority of religious institutions. This cover-up can have lasting consequences. The perpetuation of a distorted image of Jesus can lead to a disconnection between believers and their historical roots. The rediscovery of Jesus' authentic characteristics, on the other hand, can open space for a new understanding and interpretation of his message, encouraging a deeper commitment to truth and diversity within Christianity. With the new physical depiction of Jesus brought to light by the Sinai Desert Scroll, the repercussions on contemporary art could be significant. Artists who typically represent religious figures are now faced with a challenge: how to represent Jesus in a way that is more in line with this new vision. The tradition of portraying him with European characteristics can be questioned, leading to a search for representations that reflect historical reality. This could generate a wave of artistic works that seek greater authenticity, making works more inclusive and representative of human diversity. Furthermore, the influence of this new description can be seen in art galleries and exhibitions. Curators may choose to revisit classic works, reinterpreting them in light of new information. This could result in a reassessment of how past artists approached the figure of Jesus. Exhibitions that explore this new perspective can spark public interest, creating a dialogue about the image of Jesus and its relevance today. In cinema, the change in the perception of Jesus' appearance can lead to script adaptations that seek to reflect this new reality. Films that traditionally portray Jesus with Eurocentric traits can be criticized and new productions can emerge, trying to be more faithful to what is believed to be the character's true appearance. This may inspire filmmakers to explore more authentic narratives, promoting a richer and more complex representation of Christianity's central figure. The media, in turn, will not be immune to these changes either. Television programs, documentaries, and even reports can address the new description of Jesus, generating discussions about his image and the impact it has on contemporary beliefs. This new approach could lead to a reinterpretation of biblical passages, encouraging a more critical examination of the figure of Jesus in popular culture. The combination of art, film, and media can result in a feedback loop that drives new discussions about what Jesus looked like and meant. As these representations evolve, society may begin to see Jesus not just as a historical figure, but as a symbol of diversity and inclusion. This transformation in contemporary art and media can open space for deeper conversations about identity, culture, and spirituality, reflecting the plurality of human experience. And so we come to the end of this intriguing journey through the Sinai Desert. where a scroll reveals a new perspective on Jesus' true appearance. Just imagine, the images we know, the paintings that adorn churches and homes, may not reflect reality. This discovery challenges our view of one of the most influential figures in history. But what else could be hidden in the sands of time? What other mysteries are waiting to be solved? This scroll is not just an account of physical appearance. It raises profound questions about the story we have been told. What else could we discover if we looked beyond what was presented to us? Now we want to know your opinion. What do you think this revelation means for faith and history? Are we facing a cover-up? Leave your ideas in the comments, and don't forget to share your theories. The search for hidden knowledge never ends. Get ready because new discoveries are on the way, and you won't want to miss it. Stay tuned and continue exploring the mysteries surrounding figures like Jesus, because each revelation can change everything.